All right, welcome to the second Explain Yourself in a row. Will and I are starting to do this nightly. Will, did you know that? This is now every night, 7 nights a week, 365.
I'm going to have to get built up for that, man.
Okay, well, we're definitely doing 2 in a row. We might go dark on the third day. We had a great time with the Mario and Anthony of the Produce the End of the World Anthology last night. I'm going to introduce our guest really quickly, Alex Cormac, the artist and co-creator of Sink, Dig, Road of Bones, Sea of Sorrows, fantastic artist. And your work is light, fluffy.
I think so. Yeah, I agree.
Lots of ponies and unicorns, right? And rainbows.
I just draw what people want. You know, it seems to be popular little fluffy animals. It's lovely.
Well, this is the Explain Yourself Kickstarter Roundtable. I'm Kevin Joseph. I'm actually kickstarting Tart 14. I'll do my little elevator pitch. It is a oh wait, no, we said we were gonna let Alex go first and then come back.
You started. What?
Okay, I'll
you got to go, and I don't want to interrupt. Go ahead.
Tart 14. Tart is a time-traveling demon hunter. She does not know where she is when she starts an adventure, or even when in time she is, but she knows that there's a demon causing trouble, and it's up to her to stop it.
I dig it.
And so I've completely screwed it up. So why don't we stay screwing it up? Will.
Okay.
Go with Crossover Division.
Well, I'm Will Allred, and I am the writer of Crossover Division, which is when stories come to life and threaten to fracture the reality beyond repair. Only an English professor and a research librarian have the knowledge and the smarts to save the world.
And
I totally didn't just read that. So
no, it's perfect.
Actually, that's a good idea. I might as well read mine too. Here we go.
So, Alex, what we're going to do, you're going to do your elevator pitch, and then you're going to get off at the penthouse, and we're going to start talking about Dig. That way, it looks like my screw up was planned and smooth.
That's right. We're smooth.
That's all right.
Totally professional.
All right. So I'm Alex Cormac. I'm the artist on what we're here for a book called what's going to be called Dig. And it's basically a kind of offshoot of another series called Sink, which is about this area outside of Glasgow, Scotland, that's filled with like killer clowns, psychos and fox masks, Mr. Dig, mafia guys that are into the occult, a group of a group of like just punks that wear condoms on their heads called dickheads. And the poor bastards that just are stuck there and have to live there and deal with all this crap. And what I'm here talking about is this upcoming book called Dig, which is about one of our main characters from that series. Mr. Dig was this dude who wears a fox mask and smashes people in the head with a shovel. And it's his I'll do what you did. I'll read it straight off the thing. Vigilante's traumatic past is revealed while an unstoppable new enemy threatens his future by the award-winning creators of Sick.
Nice. Well, let's look at the page. Let's show people Mr. Dig,
they're doing it. It's going great. You know.
Yes.
It's funny. This is the I want to say third Kickstarter we did for the series, and the first one we did was for $8,000, and I remember thinking, who's gonna put $8,000? Are you out of your mind? Who's gonna put $1 into like this Kickstarter because it was brand new? I never heard it like. I was like, no one's going to put any money. This is ridiculous. And they're doing great, you know?
Well, you work with Tyler James, the host of the Comics Launch podcast, the lead of Comics Launch Pro, which full disclosure, this is how Will and I met with Tyler. And the great thing about Tyler is he runs fabulous campaigns. He creates extremely exciting events, but it starts with extremely good comic books. So it's it's like a Formula One race car driver. Is it the pit team, or is it the driver, or is it the car? It's a great friggin' comic book. Now, I haven't read Dig, so this Dig might suck. Stink is great.
Yeah, this is where it all falls apart here. Yeah. No, it's I'm psyched for people to see this. Yeah, it's right now we're just getting it out there. For my sake, the first 10 pages are like I'm in the middle of drawing it right now. Like it's being made right now.
Nice.
And like basically what's finished is those first 10 pages, which are on the site right here.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, this is a character that John Lee's the writer. I mean, came up with, and yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes, and it's really excited for everybody to take a look at this once it's finally done.
So, can I ask? Mr. Dig is so iconic. I think that the clowns in the blue van and Mr. Dig, in my opinion, are the things that pop
they're
out.
kind of like they're like, if you're gonna put up 2 images for this book, yeah, those are like if I'm gonna sit down and do like a sketch cover or like something it's gonna be one of those two.
So does John come to you and go, I got the psycho in a fox mask, or is he kind of tell you what the guy's like and you come up with how did you guys conceive the visuals of Mr. Dig?
So here's I got to give like 95% of credit to John, because John was like, no, yeah, I want to do it with he's got a fox mask. I want him to wear this type of shirt, like Under Armour type of like shirt. Just pants, boots, and he's got a shovel. I think the only thing I did was like, I'll give him like a belt or something to hold the shovel in. That was but yeah, it was really John came up with this character design, and I just went ahead and like, what do you think of this? And he's like, yeah, great, and we just went from there.
Oh, that's awesome!
Like, and you know, it's done better than both of us thought, because we figured, he's in this first issue, and you know, the first, and there's me. So yeah, I posed as all the stuff. That's my own shovel. That's my old house, but that's my kitchen, and set up a phone booth on a laptop. And like,
is this a reference photo, or did you just have a really bad day of drawing that day?
Yeah, I was just like, that's it. I'm taking this right to my the pads and the pencils, and yeah, right here. This is the thing that blows my mind, that people have some Mr. Dig tattoos.
That's amazing.
And that's the thing that I was like, holy smokes.
The one in the middle is just gorgeous work too. Nice. That is incredible. Yeah,
this is one of the I'm planning on going to this show, Thought Bubble, which is the show in the UK, which John always goes to and all that. He's been talking it up for years. So after seeing that tattoo, I'm like, all right, I should check this thing out.
It's definitely now. Correct me if I'm wrong. Before you started this, didn't you take a trip to Scotland?
Yep, I did. Yeah. So yeah, I'll tell you that story real quick. What happened was
we have all night. You tell us as slow as you want.
I'll take my time. All right. So what happened was it was kind of like it was a mixed trip of going to see this like John and for this preparing for this book. And at the same time, my wife was pregnant, and this was kind of all right, before our son comes along, why don't we go on a trip together and do like a last hurrah? And then my son was born and all that stuff.
Right.
So how the story went was we arrived in Glasgow, and we just got to our hotel. It was like nighttime, and I had this script for Sig number 1, and I sat down and I read it to my wife, like just word for word, everything that happened. And like, if you know Sig number 1, it's about this character who's like basically he's trying to hoof it home. He missed the last bus. He's just trying to like hoof it. It's the middle of the night, and it doesn't go well. Right. And so I read this whole thing, and I read about like Mr. Dig, read about like the guy being attacked, almost getting killed, about killer clowns, all this like crazy stuff going on. And I finished this script. I'm like, okay, so I guess that's where we're going tomorrow. Then we're going to this area. John's going to show us around. And my wife's like, are you out of your mind? Like, you're going to get murdered. Are you crazy? Like, no. We got John with us. He's local. He knows these guys. And like, John's like, I think like weighs 90 pounds. You know?
Yeah. but he's wiry. He's wiry.
He's wiry. He'll get around you. He'll do like that, like a Black Widow thing. He'll jump up with the legs and kick you.
So did Tyler kind of put you guys together, or had you worked together before on other things?
So
or how did you guys kind of get together?
So I've met Tyler like early on because I'm from Massachusetts and he is as well, and we kind of bumped into each other at like shows. And specifically, he was promoting his book, The Red Tent. Like this is how we met. Like pretty much, he was showing up the Red Tent, and there was a comic shop, Larry's comic shop in Lowell, and he was doing a thing there where it was like, like if you want to do a drawing for the book, maybe the pinup or something like that. And there was an art club there, and I was one of the guys that went there, and like it was like a drink and draw. We went there and just told jokes and had a great time, right? So I did a drawing of the character Oxymoron, like standing over somebody with like a knife, and he was like killing him, and it's like blood and every gore. And I did the drawing, didn't think too much of it. Like, here you go, and that was that. But we ended up started talking afterwards. He ended up using that image as a variant cover for like the second issue.
Oh wow!
And that's awesome. And from there, he was doing the Oxymoron Anthology. And he's like, do you want to do one of the stories? Of like, oh, of course. Yeah, I'm trying to get into comics. Yeah, whatever you got, I'll take it. So I did a story where it was I'm trying to remember his last name. His first name was Yannick. I want to say it's Morin, but I'm not 100%. Sorry, Yannick, if you're watching. But he did a story where it was Oxymoron captured like these beauty contestants. And the idea was he was going to now make like the perfect woman by hacking off this one person's ears and this one person's nose and attaching it to this other person. And of course, the end result is this horrible, like mangled, like gruesome person, like all like stapled together, right? Mm-hmm. And very gory, very gruesome, and had a blast on it, right? So as the story went on, John also did a story in there, and I think it was one of the last things Tyler actually illustrated, where really? John wrote it and Tyler drew it. And then what happened was the next anthology was for Joe Mulvey's book Scam, and there's going to be like a handful of like short stories to go with it. And John was writing a story, and apparently what he said was, yeah, the artist I want for this is Alex Cormac type. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's easy. I know him. He lives down the road. Yeah. So we ended up doing a story for Scam, and then we did Oxymoron, and then turned into Sync, and then turned into everything. And then why we're talking right now.
That's awesome.
So what I get from that is that you're an Alex Cormac type artist.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. That's right.
Well, before we're going to circle back to it. I also want, if anybody is watching, I also want to say that Explain Yourself veteran Rick Dewick and you have a 2 series, Road of Bones, Sea of Sorrows. Yep. Like I told you before the show, I have been a terrible human being and I have not gotten out and gotten Sea of Sorrows. So that is my apology.
I'm out.
Yeah. Go on Amazon real quick. Get them back. Real quick.
Images, I'm sure it's half as
Road of Bones was also absolutely incredible. How did that come together?
So it was kind of the same thing. It's I'm lucky enough because I was friends with Tyler and friends with John, and we would always run into each other in this group at like New York Comic Con, and one of those guys happened to be Rich, and so I got to know Rich and just became friends with him. And going to him after he saw Sync, he was like, "Oh, he would be good for this Road of Bones story that he had." And I can't remember what year it was. A handful of years ago, we were at New York Comic Con. He said, "Hey, listen, I got this idea for a story," and he pitched Road of Bones, which was, if you don't know, like it's about these guys that are in a gulag in Soviet Russia. Long story short, they're able to escape, and our main character realizes that he was brought along not because the other guys like him, because they don't have enough food on this travel against like this desert of ice and snow. They're going to crack him in the head and he's lunch. And now he's stuck out there, and what's he going to do next, right? So he pitched me that, and I was like, this is a story that even if I had nothing to do with, I would go and pick up. Like, yes,
right.
I do, please. And so yeah, we just got cracking on that. And then CSRs came about because I told him, like, all right, because we're trying to figure out, all right, what are we going to do as a follow-up? And I said, well, the great thing about Road of Bones is because I'm from New England, I always wanted to do a story in the snow because, 9 months out of the year for us, it's snowing. Mm-hmm. And so I like, you never really see too many stories in the snow. So I wanted to do something where it just shows how much it sucks. Mm-hmm. And then I told him the next thing I wanted to do was when I was a kid, we went to Cape Cod a bunch. Like every summer we would go to the Cape. And I always wanted to do something that was on the ocean, like something like out and about in the water. And I said, all right, well, and we worked CSROs kind of out of that. And
that's nice.
Yeah. And then there was a third thing, but I'm not at liberty to talk about that just yet.
Okay. That is fair. We're gonna be able to keep it quiet. Road of Bones might be the one book I've seen that's bloodier than Sink.
It's it's issue 3 at least. Yeah, it's up there.
Yeah,
I guess like Inside Out. I mean, it's all over the place.
Do you want to draw unicorns and rainbows, or are you happy to be in the muck?
My son is 5 years old. I'll be happy to do family stuff, but I mean, yeah, it's what do I say? It's gore's fun to draw.
Yeah,
it's fun to draw this, and the thing is, it's like I started with animation, right? Like before I got into comic books, I used to do animation. Like that's what I studied in college. That's what I thought I would do as a career. The only problem is when I graduated, no one was hiring, and so for me, it's still like dropping an anvil on the coyote, right? Like these guys, as far as I'm concerned, these guys are fine. Like one of the things I did especially for Road of Bones is, and it's in the trade back, that when it was all over, I then drew all those characters that were out there, and I was like, I'm gonna give these guys a break. So I put them all like in a pool party. I put them like all hanging out, barbecuing. Like you almost hear Jimmy Buffett playing the radio. They're all having like margaritas, having a good time.
Although you did just remind me
of. I say these are characters I made up.
Yeah,
they're fine. They're all fine.
You did remind me of the central tenet of Road of Bones, though. So what are they grilling?
Yeah, right. That's a good point. The guards.
Okay, fair.
They're just like, I don't know of these jerks. Yeah. They're faux burgers, like those, like the plant burgers or whatever they're called.
There you go. Beyond, definitely beyond.
That's great.
Beyond meat. Beyond
yes,
meat,
right? Beyond your imagination.
Yeah.
I've
got a quick question around how you and John work together. I mean, I assume John writes full script.
Yep.
And then you take the script and work your magic, right?
Can I interrupt? Yeah. Does he write in the Scottish accent?
Yeah. What maybe someone? Yeah. The script's completely something different else. It is unicorns and fluffy animals. Yeah. I misread it. Yeah. So that's what happens. Well, he'll once in a while he'll say like, all right, this is kind of the gist that I'm thinking about what the story will be about. And I mean, especially with John, John can pitch me anything. I'll be like, sure, but yeah, so what he'll do, it's a full script. It'll be like, page 1, guy walks into a room. This is what the room looks like. He's wearing this. Panel 2, he sees another guy in there. That guy's wearing this. Panel 3, he punches that guy in the mouth. Panel 4, they wrestle. Panel 5, they make out. But but that's what it'll be. And he'll kind of, it's just all straight ahead. And basically it's up to me to be like, all right, what's the angle? What's the guy look like? What is he wearing? Like, opposed to whatever like hints John might give. Well, like what time of day it is, like, is the guy shaved? Has he not shaved? Why hasn't he shaved? Like, why are we looking at this angle? Why are we like, who's in power here? Like, who's like, this guy might think he's in power. Is he in power? All that type of stuff. So basically I have to play like director, like costume design, casting, acting, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. So if, in case somebody hasn't read Sink, is it a weird way to explain it as almost an anthology?
Because it's kind of like an anthology, like kind of like if you watch like Pulp Fiction is an anthology, or like Sin City the movie is an anthology. Right?
Characters in one.
It's all the
area.
same people making it, and it's all like the same area, right?
Right. So the clowns it could be the clown's adventure, but you might see Mr. Dig in the background, or he might actually come in for a page or two and then exit.
Right.
How involved are you with John in figuring out which character is the focal point of an issue or who comes back? Is that a discussion you guys have, or do you kind of just get a script?
That's mainly the script. Like we'll talk about it. We'll be like, oh, this person was great. Let's try to bring them back. Or I might just kind of pop them in the background if there's like opportunity to throw someone in the background like that. Most of the time that'll be in the script. It'll be like, this is going on, and like by the way, and John will probably be like, by the way, if you want to throw Mr. Dig in the background, or if you want to throw someone else, like a hint to this person or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's a club scene, like maybe toss somebody else in there that you might recognize, not right now, but maybe like 5 issues from now.
Right.
And a lot of that type of thing will be in the script, like straight in the script.
Do you consider this a crime comic or a horror comic?
Yep.
Okay.
Good answer.
I've been putting this stuff up, and I've been like, it's crime.
Yeah,
horror,
it's
comedy.
There's a lot of crime in there. I'd probably lean more horror, just because it's the way things pan out. Sure, you got crime in there, but I mean, you're not going to see killer clowns hacking people up in Goodfellas. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like if you're going to compare it to that, or I'd lean probably more horror with crime elements, and most of the best horror movies have comedy in there.
Right.
Like
you need some relief. You need some relief to make the horror better when you come back to it.
Yeah. Like one of my personal favorite funny bits in a horror movie is in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where the dad comes home and there's Leatherface, and he's all mad at Leatherface chasing him around, and Leatherface finally explains to him that like, no, I killed all the teenagers. Everything's okay. And the dad's like, okay. But he just has to have something to be mad at them. So he just kind of brings up out of the blue, like, you screwed up the door. And he starts chasing him around again. Yeah. And every time I see that movie, it just cracks me up. They're just like, this guy couldn't like be happy with anything. He just had to find something like, the door. I'll get you for the door. That'll do.
I think my favorite thing I've only watched it once. My favorite thing was the guy who rings the doorbell and Leatherface opens the door and just crushes his skull with a hammer. Yeah. It is so surprising and shocking. I laughed out loud with that. Like no chase.
And he like slams the door, and you're just like, oh shit. Oh, excuse me. I don't know. Can we cuss on here? I don't know.
I fucking guess so.
Damn it, I don't know.
You know what? If I bring somebody on doing sync, we better be able to cuss a little bit. You know, it's not really fair to the audience if we're going to be talking about this.
Listen, all right. People are inside out, but let's keep the language.
Yeah. You brought up Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and this is just random. Clay Adams was just on with his Nightmare Theater.
Oh yeah.
What is the pinnacle horror movie to you?
To me, oh my god. That's a tough question. It depends what you're looking for. It's there's a lot of variables in there. If you're just talking straight horror, I mean, you can go something like It's Basically Psycho. Right. If you're talking about something like gore, I would go something like Dead Alive. If you're talking about like horror comedy, you could do like the Evil Dead stuff. You could do if you want something that's actually gonna freaking just bother you after, you could do something like something that's basically The Shining, or like The Witch is one of my favorite movies right now, and that's is his own thing, and that's more of like the historical thing. And
I haven't seen that, but my artist on Tart, Ludo, wants me to see it because I'm trying to get him to watch The Queen's Gambit for Anya Taylor-Joy, and he's trying to get me to watch The Witch for the same reason.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
So we both, one of us has to give, but I
haven't seen the Queen's Gambit yet, so I'll go with Go with your friend.
You artists, all your artists are always going to work together. I know how this is.
What are you gonna do? We gotta stick together.
Fair.
We draw for a living. What else are we gonna do?
You know what? You guys do the actual work, so I'll give you this one.
Yeah.
Will, me, and John just kind of, send it off and let you guys break your backs and wrists. And normally we're the only ones on these shows getting credit. So
and take all the glory. That's right.
Yes. Thank you for coming on.
By the way, I will say this past Halloween, my wife and I, we've been doing like movie brackets lately, and and we did one for Halloween for horror movies. And what we did was we picked 4 movies from like each decade.
Okay.
And then we had them compete like March Madness type of thing. I didn't agree with the final thing which was the ending was Halloween, which won it all. It was one point Halloween and Night of the Living Dead were competing, and I was fighting hard for Night of the Living Dead, and I had to keep from the couch. I relented with Halloween. But, Halloween's amazing, but
this came up this week with my wife. We were talking about favorite horror movies, and she was very specific to create genres. Slasher. She went with Halloween. As zombies, she went with Night of the Living Dead. Both created their genres, and so she'll be very happy to know that 2 of the ones that she named were up there.
For those 2, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to. I mean, everything after Night of the Living Dead is kind of doing Night of the Living Dead.
Right.
Nothing before Night of the Living Dead was anything like that. Right. I mean, you had like Carnival of Souls, kinda. But like no one was getting like eaten, and there's no like like these are intestines that I got right here,
Right.
And then like Halloween, like you could say like Black Christmas before that, but you never saw the killer in Black Christmas, so you kind of had the whole deal as a whole POV thing. But Michael Myers coming out with that mask on and doing so you had both of, and so you got to give it to that one.
Yeah. And Carpenter's sound. What's that?
What were the other genres out of curiosity?
So she's very much slasher. That's I'm not really a horror person. I was ruined because my grandfather allowed me to watch Halloween 2 when I was 6. So I was just like, I don't like horror. I'm against horror. I won't watch it. And I ended up running into Scream when I was, like 22. And I was like, oh wait, this can be funny and exciting. It didn't scare me at all. I was like, all right, so Scream got me back in. So it was slasher, it was zombie. She is not into torture porn, but that is a genre. But since she's not into it, we haven't watched it, so we can't judge like Saw versus.
I'll back that up. I mean, just watching somebody just for them to be like upset, like being torn up like that. I'll back that up. Like I haven't sat down and watched Saw. That's not true. I saw Saw. I haven't seen Hostel yet. I feel like I should, but a lot of those kind of like for the sake of just being a jerk.
Right.
Like, come on, give me something better than that.
So Ignacio says both The Witch and Queen's Gambit are great, and not only because of Anya Taylor-Joy. That is fair. I honestly want Ludo to watch The Queen's Gambit because of the cinematography. It's all in the 60s and the costumes and just the beautiful set pieces. I think that he'll be into. But I'll watch The Witch if anybody else watches The Queen's Gambit, and I bet we're gonna both like it.
Tell you what, I'll watch Queen's Gambit. You watch The Witch. We'll talk later.
Sounds great. Well, Will, let's
before we jump in, Alex, so we've got John Lees as writer.
Mm-hmm.
You are the artist on the book. Do you do everything, or who's the rest of the team?
All right, so it is. I just double check. I think it's Colin Bell.
Will's always nice about this.
No, it's.
I forget.
I am so embarrassed, and he's going to yell at me later.
No, we can go to the page. No, we can do the page. We'll find the.
Oh, I'm so embarrassed. What's what I say, Sean Lee?
Listen, man, we're the ones that got you up here at 11:32 talking about this. That's.
I'm embarrassed. Hey, dude, yell at me later. I completely forgot your name. Who did the lettering? But no, as far as the artwork and the coloring, that's all. It's all me.
And do you color on the computer or do you do it?
Yes. Well, I'll tell you how. So what I'll do is, like you saw the picture of me with the shovel, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I'll do is I'll kind of like I'll sketch it out by hand, like super rough. And what I'll do from there is kind of like just to figure out what the page is going to look like. And then I'll take photos, and it's always photos of myself kind of acting it out. So like here, like I'll take a photo of my back, like right there, like kind of like, oh, I'm hurt. Mm-hmm. And then I'll draw from that photo just to kind of get like an idea of like how the shot should look, right?
You drew yourself some damn guns, dude.
Yeah, it's nothing like that, yeah. But so what I'll do is but with that I'll start inking in the computer from those thumbnails. And how it'll work is if you go see me at a show, I'll have some original art like the pencils,
right?
And those I'll take the original thumbnails, and then I'll build them up from the inks that I already did in the computer, and make them look nice from that. So and that's why when you see original art from me in shows, it's pencils, not inks, because I ink in the computer, and if I ink it again later, it's not the same thing, and I feel like I'm lying. Right. But yeah, so that's what I'll do. I'll thumbnail it out, take some photos of like poses and all that junk, and then draw from me posing, and that's how it all works. And then from there, and so how I ink is I'll draw it in Flash, or it's now called Animate. It used to be called Flash, and that's going back to my animation days. And from there, I'll ink it there. Then I'll chuck it into Photoshop. And,
oh wait! Oh my gosh! You do it. Wow!
Yeah,
so you're
Flash,
the first.
Like the
old, Homestar Runner
in the Blender or whatever it was, or the Homestar Runner to those guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
So that's the program is.
Neat. You're the first artist in the entire time that I've worked that has said that they work in Flash. That's interesting.
Yeah. Who was it? Somebody was telling me, they were like, "Yeah, I've never heard of that either." Yeah. So apparently it's me. And I've heard a handful of people like, that sounds so hard, and it doesn't seem too tricky to me. But
yeah, but it's like telling
maybe there's like a million other way easier things to do.
That's like telling somebody born in Tokyo that Japanese is a hard language. You know, the language.
That's what I know. Yeah, or even for like English. So like, if you say so, I guess I get it. But yeah, and then I'll color it all in Photoshop, and like in Photoshop too, I'll like for example, like if somebody's getting like bloodied up and there's some splatter, right? That's like some splatter that I did like by hand with. Oh, look at that pretty guy. Oh, here we go.
Sean Lee. You know his name.
Sean Lee. Sean, you're gonna kill me. I'm sorry, buddy.
Oh, I thought you were saying it was Chun-Li. I thought that was the Street Fighter girl.
Yeah. Well, Colin Bell did the lettering, I think, on the first issue.
Okay.
And then Sean Lee came in and did everything afterwards. And
there's Tyler.
And there's Tyler. What a handsome fella. And yeah, there's, if you go a little lower, there's Mr. Dig doing like a Todd McFarlane thing. Yeah, there he is. Oh. He his leg up that high.
Is this I mean, is there an artist that this is after, or is this just
this was so this one was like a commission. Like when we were early on, and somebody asked if I could do it like Spider-Man, and that's 300.
300, I think. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I had a Frank Miller feel. I had a Frank Miller feel, but
oh yeah. Oh no, that's that pure Spider-Man. Yeah, kicking out for that 300.
Okay.
Yeah, there was there was a handful of things like, could you do it like this cover and that cover?
Right.
I know there's it's popping up in the promotion now. Mr. doing like the Come Here, which was completely me doing the Wolverine. Like Frank Miller one, the Come Here.
Right.
Yeah, let's see. You are not missing anything if you don't watch Hostel. All right. But a good one is the 2008 French movie Martyrs.
Not the USA version.
All right.
Okay. All right. Ignacio, we will bow to your knowledge on these.
Martyrs? I'll check it out. All right. Yeah, so going back to horror movies. So what we'd always do, my brother and I would always get together in Halloween, or like for the month of October, and we'd always get together like every week, and we'd always do a double feature of 2 horror movies that neither of us seen.
Okay.
So it couldn't be like one of us saw and the other didn't. So it wouldn't be a situation where one of us is looking at the other like, yeah, wait for this, wait for it. Yeah. So we're both like going in completely blind. And so I'll check that one for next year.
Super important. Has Toby Hopper's Funhouse been one of those yet?
Not yet. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, for him, other than like obvious like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Poltergeist, and there was like the Toolbox Murders or something like that. That was I don't know what that was. I remember seeing that and his name popped up and I'm like, oh, okay.
So definitely put that on your list. It is fun. It's a fun, good horror. Creates multiple rules that Scream basically dealt with.
Yeah.
And you see the rules and you're like, oh, that's the rule. And then you find out that this is the movie that did it first. Like Texas Chainsaw is his masterpiece, but definitely Funhouse is worth checking out. For a fun slasher that's interesting.
I'm game. All right, I'm for it. Yeah, if it's a horror movie, I'm a fan.
Like I said, my wife likes slashers. So they're on a lot. I'll be over working on something in Prom Night 2, Mary Sue's Revenge or whatever I'll be on. So,
oh my god! So I just saw that. We saw that last year, my wife and I, and we were. I can't remember what we were doing with the movies last year, but we watched Prom Night 1.
Okay.
Which, again, is one of the characters I can never remember his name, but is one of my. The first time I saw it, I loved this guy. It was like this, like it looked like a little dorky guy, but he was just killing it through the movie. Like he got like a date with the girl in school. He was selling weed out of his van. He was like he was the hero of this story, and he got killed. It was tragic. So I remember having such a blast with Prom Night 1, and this was like maybe like 5-6 years ago since I saw that, and then and I'm like, well, what's Prom Night 2? Who cares? I'm sure it's gonna be terrible. Right. Let's watch it. And my wife and it was more of like a Freddy Krueger like surreal type of horror type of thing going on, and nothing what I expected. I thought it was gonna be some jerk in a mask chasing me around.
Right.
And so we were both like, this is the greatest movie we've ever seen. Like the thing with the lockers and the squishes. I was like, it blew us away. It was one of those we didn't know we were getting into, and it was a pleasant surprise.
I have a great wife too. Will does as well. So it's nice to have 3 guys who are like, I really enjoy hanging out with my wife. But but so I'm over on the computer and she's watching this, and I just keep hearing Kevin. Boobs.
Right. Oh my god! Yeah, especially that movie.
Prom Night 2 did not.
Don't mind if I do.
Yeah. Kevin, you're missing me. Oh.
What?
That's pretty good. All right.
I love that. Even in 2021, it's not that hard to find that anymore.
No, but it feels like like when you find a dollar bill on the ground. That's so much nicer than working and getting $20. For it just to be on the TV is wonderful.
Well said. Absolutely well said.
Well, I can talk all night about horror. Let's cross over to Will's campaign real quick.
I saw what you did there, man.
So crossover division. This is the 3rd issue. Anybody who would like to check it out can catch up on the series.
We have print and digital catch-ups on this campaign, and it's the full team has changed a little bit. We ran into some scheduling problems with Pablo, so he's going to be coming back for number 5. But this is a 2-part story, so numbers 3 and 4 are going to be drawn by Alice Leclerc, who's a French artist, and she's pretty darn awesome. And then
I love French artists, so I'm with you on that.
Yeah, and I got a certain French artist to do a pretty darn awesome variant cover for us. Yeah, there's Alice's standard cover. There.
Oh, actually, that's a GIF that's going to go through them, isn't it? Yeah. All right, so we can just sit and look at them. That was gorgeous.
Absolutely.
There's Alice's standard cover. Pablo is going to do connecting covers for us for 3 and 4, and then also Alice's covers for 3 and 4 will be connecting covers.
All right, we're gonna talk to your GIF person. That's too fast.
Yeah,
we'll find them down
cover.
here. They were like bam, 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 bam. All right, so
there's Alice's cover. Yeah, and it will connect to the cover for number 4, and then that's
nice.
the standard cover. And then Pablo's cover for number 3 will also connect to, which is already done. He's already got the cover for number 4 done for us, which is pretty darn awesome.
Nice.
And that's his cover, the variant cover. Some guy that draws Tart or something, I think, did an awesome cover for us. Ludo is spectacular. That's one of our variants.
Yeah.
And then
I love the dagger in the back.
I know, and it's this is the cover by Tina Valentino, which I love.
Iconic.
And that's one of the reasons why we decided kind of to make it our project image, just because it's so iconic. And that's colored by Dario Tallarico. I hope I'm getting his name right. If I'm not, Tina, you or Dario, please holler at me. But and then our final variant is by Romina Morinelli of Glarian, and she just did a book for a Painkiller Jane book for Jimmy Palmiotti, the paper films.
You know what? I thought it looked familiar, but I didn't place it with Glarian. Now that you say it, it's obvious. It's right there.
Yeah, she's an amazing artist.
That is so sexy. That is a sexy, sexy cover.
But it's the story is we're continuing on. Fictional realities invade, and unless our guys stop them, bad things will happen. So
I see some Wolvie here.
I don't know what you're talking about, man.
Yeah, that's an original character, right?
I mean, I see some fine, really hard to understand characters, but they're reminiscent.
His name is Mulverine, right?
Joe Mulvey says yes, it's Mulverine.
Yes, that's right.
Mulverine.
So we've got some colored pages. The rest. So Pablo, when he's doing the book, I kind of see, hopefully, as we progress through the series, that Pablo will do issues, and then we'll have other artists, potentially Alice, doing other issues because of the way the schedules work and everything.
Right.
But with Alice, she does. With Pablo does pencils, inks, and colors, the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Alice does pencils and inks, and so we needed a colorist. And Kevin and I have experience with a pretty amazing colorist by the name of Ryan Kroboth.
Yeah, he's pretty talented.
He's pretty darn awesome. So he is actually, if you look at those colored pages, he's going to be coloring. He's actually in the process of coloring the issue right now.
I'll go back up. Yeah. And
then, of course, we still have Brant Fowler, who is our letterer and designer for the book, which is, Kevin and I, we've talked a lot about, it's not comics until the letterer does his or her thing. And it's such an important part of the comic that most people just, look right over.
Yeah, there are some artists don't even know the name of their letterer.
Yeah, I know. Come on.
You realize tomorrow I'm going to be getting so much crap from him tomorrow.
It's okay. Our viewership isn't extraordinarily high. We have a blast, but we're still building, so it's very, very likely your letterer won't watch this. Yeah, but if we edit it, it'll probably be more to accentuate it because that's really funny.
So with this issue, Shakespearean drama is invading, and we also have the introduction of Betsy, who is a character that's going to be I don't know who this character is. I don't know.
Yes, we're not sure who this Wolverine is that Kevin brought up.
It's not a bad name for a character, but
no, somebody's got to figure that out. There's got to be a spot for it in the Sync universe.
But Betsy's going to be an important character as the series progresses, and it was a character that Pablo initially designed, and then Alice came in and kind of put her spin on her as well, and then Betsy's the character on all the variant covers that we've seen by Romina and Ludo and Pablo and Tina. So it's I feel like we're kind of starting to get into a groove, and I'm looking forward to to getting this thing out there in the world, because I think this story it's a stretch a little bit for us because we haven't really done a two-parter, and I wanted to. I mean, overall, the first 4 issues are kind of an arc where we take Hank and Hector from kind of newbie rookie agents to at least passable. They can they can get the job done basically, and then we'll take them further in the next arc and the next arc after that, until we reach the end of this really long series that stupidly I decided needed to be around 20 issues. But
so I have a question. The first issue has a little bit of Wizard of Oz. You've done War of the Worlds. You've done Dracula, the Brides of Dracula. Now you're saying Shakespearean. So is it one particular play, or are we running into Puck and Romeo? How is Shakespeare crossing over into our world?
It's one particular play, and part of the fun of this issue is that we find out what happens when the crossover division agents get it wrong.
Oh, okay. So that it is a spoiler to ask which play. So I'll stop right there. That's all right. That makes sense. Can I ask if it's a comedy or a drama? Because I want to know if everybody's going to die or get married.
There's no marriages.
Oh, okay. So it is not. It's not 12th Night. It's not Midsummer. Midsummer is not a comedy, by the way. Midsummer Night Dream. Big difference. Big difference.
It's I'm actually our editor, and I don't know if I mentioned his name earlier, is James Powell, who really helps elevate, I think, the entire everybody that's working on it. He makes us better. But I've already got feedback for him. Everybody dies then. I hope not. I've got feedback on the script for number 4, and there was a scene that just wasn't working quite right. And so he said, I don't like kind of, you need to rework this. I don't know. Okay. So I sat down and I went, okay, they can't, I made it too easy. I need to do something else. And that one thing led to another. And then I wrote bad iambic pentameter and cackled like a madman. It was so much fun.
I do remember that Neil Gaiman's big success when he wrote Shakespeare into Sandman was that Shakespeare spoke in iambic pentameter. That was he was just like I've done everything I need to do as a comic book writer because Shakespeare speaks in iambic pentameter. He
I am definitely not Neil Gaiman, so
yet because I think Shakespeare is like in issue 20 and he went another like 50 issues. So
that's true.
We don't know where you're going to be 20 issues from now.
But I had a little fun. I said, okay, I had a line from the actual play. I had one of the characters, not the actual character that said it in the play, but I had him say the line from the play. And then I had my really bad, line come a panel or two later. And I said, okay, Stace, can you tell the difference between me and Shakespeare?
You're alive.
And I'm alive, but she couldn't. And I was like, no, come on, this is obvious. How can you not get this? I even ran it past my son, and he was like, really, Dad? That's okay. So I don't know what that means. It probably means that they don't really know Shakespeare, I think is what it really means. But I kind of, I'm gonna take that as a win and move on. So how do you pick the classic literature that's going to cross over? Are these
things that you've loved all your life that you want to explore? Are these things that just feel like they would work for the narrative of the comic? How do you pick this?
Kind of a little bit from column A, a little bit from column B. There are certain things, like, for reasons that I can't get into, the first issue had to be War of the Worlds.
Okay.
That was just what it had to be. The second issue, and I feel like I failed a little bit from the writing standpoint in the first issue, because I couldn't do as much as I wanted to do, because I had to set everything up, right? You had to build the world. But what I kind of want to do is, I don't want to just, bring something in to bring something in. I also want to try to comment on it a little bit. Like, the Victorians were nuts about, women. I mean, it was not a great time for women in general.
Yeah, it's so great right now. So
yeah, that's true. But it was worse. And I wanted to kind of comment. I wanted to use the Brides of Dracula from Dracula to maybe comment a little bit on that, and bring a little bit of criticism of why that was the way it was and why it was bad. And so I try to look for things, and I can't tell you what the work is that we're crossing over with, although I definitely wanted to comment on this one, because I can't really get into it. But anyway, I wanted to comment on this one. However,
I love making Will dance. This is great.
I have mapped out 5 through 8 at this point.
Okay.
So 5, 6, and 8, I'm certain on. 7, I'm still working between a few that I kind of want to look at. But I knew that number 8 had to be Sherlock Holmes.
Okay.
Because it involves Betsy, and a certain turning point between Hank's relationship with her and Hector and the rest of Crossover Division at that point. So I knew that book had to be right there. After, I've got a giant list. At some point, because I love A Princess of Mars more than probably I should, he's going to meet John Carter. Okay. That's going to be, and he's going to thank him, because Hank and Hector, Hank or Hector, are going to meet him, and they're going to thank him, because I love that book so much.
I feel like you have to ask Mick Byers to draw that for you. I feel
I know.
It's unfair not to let him do that.
It's because he's doing such a great, I mean, his book.
Don't ask me what the name of it is. I just know it's John Carter and it's Mick Byers. And I honestly,
I'm there for
I'm
that.
so goddamn proud of myself. Don't ask me the title of the comic.
And he shall yet conquer. That's what it is.
Yes, good pull. Holy shit.
But
Will is on point.
It's, I am having a lot of fun. There are going to be some, I mean, when it comes down to it, what really kind of set me down this, and maybe Alex may appreciate this. So,
or maybe he won't. I don't know.
I was on a walk or a run, and I started to think the first image of Crossover Division that came to my mind, and this is dark, and I don't. The Crossover Division is not this dark. Okay, it's kind of more a little bit lighthearted at times, but I saw this basically a Man in Black type character. So we've come a long way from that already, but basically a Man in Black type character covered in blood with a knife, holding a knife, and he says, "A man can only kill Black Beauty so many times." The horse from the book. And I'm like, okay, that's pretty dark, but we're going to go a different way. But that was kind of my initial take on it. Because, a work that crosses over, how would they fight them? And a lot of this was, super, super early. And I kind of started moving away from that because it didn't really feel like the tone I was going for. But it's, remember, Martians don't have, Martians, Deja Thoris does not have a belly button. Thank you. But yeah, I know that was pretty dark, but it's not going to happen in the book. I promise. It's not going to happen in the book.
For Horsey.
Ignacio, please, if there's anything you want to ask about the comics, about crowdfunding, please put it in the comics. Part of what we want to do here is talk about our books and also tell you what you want to know about them. So,
and speaking of our books,
we're loving you being part of it. But also, if there's something that really piques your interest, let us know.
And speaking of our books, I think it's time that we segue to a certain time-traveling demon hunter.
Almost. But do you return to these books? So you pick Bride of Dracula. Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. The whiskey's hitting right before I flip out, before I have to hit Tart. That's gonna be really funny.
I got your back, man. I got you.
Beautiful. So, do you go back to Dracula? Do you go back to some Dracula movies? What do you do to research Dracula, or do you just kind of have what you know about it?
Well, actually, there's a couple of things I do. I do actually. I try to make sure I read the whole thing. I've read the book. I've read Dracula a long time ago. Then Project Gutenberg is a godsend, because all of those things, everything at Project Gutenberg is, public domain. So I can go grab Dracula. I can go grab Frankenstein. I can go grab whatever, I can go grab a Princess of Mars because they're all in the public domain. So I'll use them, I'll download the text. I'll have them so I can search through them easily. And also, I'll look at some, like base level criticism on them and see kind of, what people are picking out, the important things. Like one of the things for Dracula was it is Gothic horror, and there's a sense of being enclosed, tight spaces. It's, it has that suffocating type of atmosphere. So I kind of wanted to make sure that we, when I wrote the script, that, I communicated that to Pablo so that we kind of had that suffocating atmosphere while we were in the midst of the adventure, basically. And for the others, I'll try to look and see what else is in there, and then also I do some probably a little more kind of meta research on it, because I don't like just taking, if I'm going to take War of the Worlds and do things with it, I feel like I owe H.G. Wells or I owe Bram Stoker something. So I try to do an essay in the book that these are the basics of Dracula. Here's when it was published. Here's who the author was. Here's where you can find out more about the book, kind of thing. So that I'm borrowing, but I'm hopefully giving back a little bit, because hey, if you have more interest in Dracula, go here and read it.
Right. So Ignacio says, I want to congratulate you guys on the digital catch-up tier on all the campaigns. It's a great choice for Argentinians to get up to speed without paying crazy shipping fees. You know what? I'm going to speak for myself. It's my pleasure. It is one of the most difficult things to do to create shipping internationally, because I know in order not to hamstring the campaign, and in order not to be 6 months from now going crazy and burning my books, and if you want to read something that'll make you laugh and go crazy, read Kickstarter creator Burns books. You have to charge an insane amount to ship internationally. And I appreciate every backer who pays that shipping.
Oh, yeah.
And I understand every backer who says, I can't do it. So yeah, digital, like, we're here for readers, man. If you can own the book, beautiful. But if you want to read it on your tablet, your computer, great. Alex's gore, I couldn't get Rotobones number 3. His gore was just as fucking scary on my iPad as issue 1, 2, and 4 were holding it in my hands, So, we love our digital backers, and any way you'll read the book makes me personally happy. I'm guessing that I'm speaking for everybody.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
as long as you're looking at it, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, now it is time for some time traveling demon hunters.
So before we do this, have you ever shared a campaign, Will?
Have I ever shared a campaign?
Yeah, because it feels weird for me to share my campaign. It feels a little indulgent.
It does feel. I mean, because we're kind of the hosts, but we're probably our worst guests that we've ever had, aren't we?
Yeah. I would say we're our worst guests because we've been really lucky. You know, we've had some pretty good ones. You know, Alex, you are in a long line of cool ass people. Thank you for joining.
Thanks for being here.
Hey, cheers.
Sean Lee might not say the same, but you know what?
He's not here, so there.
It's terrible. I'm friends with him. I know him. He's completely blanked on his name. Like
you know what? The thing is, and I said it before. You start a show at 11 o'clock on Friday night at the end of a work week. Shit's gonna happen, and that's what makes it good. So no worries, dude.
That's easy for you to say.
We're gonna totally get shit about it.
Still let his issue. He's gonna all say "screw you."
Yeah, maybe. So, Will, do you know how to share a tart?
All right, I will give this a try. I think I
share at the bottom of the screen.
Okay.
But do you have it? Do you have it open on your?
I do now.
Okay, there you go. All right, so I'll start talking about it. Extraordinarily lucky, proud, happy, excited to be sharing Tart 14. At the end of this year, we knew we were going to do a Kickstarter campaign. We didn't know if we were going to do a hardcover collection of Tart 4 through 7 or Tart 14. Two things happened where we chose to do the next chapter. Number one, we looked at international shipping taking forever. We looked at a supply chain paper shortage, which scared the shit out of us. Yeah. So it kind of felt like a lot of risk for a hardcover campaign that is really, really important. And Ludo was able to finish the 22-page story we wrote. So it kind of felt like, okay, we've got the art. He hasn't colored it yet, but the black and white inks are done for the first 22 pages. So it was like, let's get the chapter out. You know, hopefully January we'll print it, we'll ship it out, we'll do the hardcover, and you know, we'll go forward. So really excited to get another chapter of Tart's adventure out just after the new year. And the hardcover of Submerged is coming. We're excited about it. Hopefully paper will exist in March, April, or May of 2022. To do that, we shall see. But what's really exciting about this is it's sort of, I've always thought that Tart was, in my mind, episodic, but the story of a agent, Tart Acid's childhood, teenage years, and adulthood. And as a child, you kind of want your parents to love you and think you're good and you want to succeed for them. As a teenager, you start to revolt. And as an adult, you start to deal with maybe some of the mistakes that you've made as a teenager. Well, we are getting into Tart's teenage years, and she might start realizing that maybe she wants to push back at the people who tell her what to do, and she might start making the mistakes. So I'm really excited to get into the muck of what happens.
I finally got it. Yes.
You got it. It's gorgeous. And I always wanted to do something in the Old West, and it was always in the outline to do a story. And just like Shakespeare, I can't quite tell you exactly what this story is, but Tart is kind of going around the Old West, searching to find a glimmer of a supernatural threat. And she may, if she finds it, she'll try to deal with it and deal with the repercussions of it.
Oh, that's nice. From the very first.
That's from issue 2, where we sent her back to an ice age, and I sent the script to Ludo, and Ludo emailed me back, and it was the greatest email I've ever gotten. He wrote back, "Hey, I've always wanted to paint a comic. Do you mind if I paint our comic?" And my answer was, "Ludo, if the question is ever, may I paint the comic? The answer is always yes."
Always yes.
Yeah. Oh, I suppose.
And here's the rest of the team. We've got Ludo, of course.
So Ludo is the co-creator, and it's kind of funny to say co-creator. So this whole series, Time Traveling Demon Hunting, comes from Ludo. He was drawing and writing a series starring Hell Strawberry, who is some sort of a demon fighter who pops around in time. And he kind of wrote himself into a corner. He had all these amazing ideas and beautiful ideas and beautiful images, but he didn't have a through line. And he wrote himself into a corner, and a mutual friend named Anna kind of introduced us. And I kind of saw what he was doing, and it's almost a sitcom. It's really cute and fun and chaotic and weird, but I couldn't take his issue and go from there to something else. But I said, maybe if we created a new character and started, kind of 20 feet to the right of what you're doing, we can play with that. And he liked my first script, which ends up being Tart 1. And we've been working together ever since. So Ludo's not just the co-creator. He's really the creator. I get more credit than I deserve on this.
And we've got lots of rewards here.
I'm going to talk about the $14 digital catch-up, as Ignacio brought up. You could read all 14 issues and the Hell Strawberry trade paperback for $14. $25 you can get chapters 1 through 7, and that's like the cheap, easy, dirty, quick way to find out if you love our series. So to me, that $14, that $25, that is the seed of everything we do. Once you love us, come back for Ludo's original art and spend some money. But I want you to take the pill that I give you on the playground first, real cheap. And once I got you hooked, we'll get you back for the original art.
Nice. I could not have said that better myself.
Yeah.
So we do have a team together. Our letterer is DC Hopkins, who has been with us since Tart 4, and I am sort of hoping that he continues to grow away from us because he's so talented. I want him to be too big for Tart, but I also want him to be involved for the rest of the series, because he's extraordinary. And Cassie Bell is our editor. The coolest thing about Cassie is I met her at New York Comic Con. She was in a Doctor Who cosplay, and she came up to the booth. And, when you've got a time traveler in your comic book at New York Comic Con, and there's 90 people going past every 10 minutes, you kind of got to figure out who to try to hook. And I was like, okay, I'm going to get that TARDIS. And I started talking to her. She ended up buying it, and she bought the Tart trade paperback, and one of her friends bought Hell Strawberry. They went to lunch. Each of them read it. Each of them gave it to each other. And then they came back. There were four women together, and all 4 women left with the Tart trade paperback, issue 4, and Hell Strawberry. It is the most extraordinary con story I've ever had. And I ended up becoming friends with her because she's just cool as shit. She is just funny, smart, and a hell of a writer on her own. And I had a Kickstarter, like I think it was Tart 5 or 6, that I needed proofreading because I'm an idiot and there's typos everywhere. And she goes, I'll look at it for you. And I was like, well, great. And she went through it, and her eye is just so smart. And she found everything on the page. And I was like, well, fuck. Do you want to be our editor? And she was like, do you want an editor? And I'm like, yes, we need an editor. I'm like, like Ludo's an artist. I'm, maybe a writer. We need an editor. And she was like, well, yeah. And like, she's been with us ever since, and she's just fabulous. So that's our team. We also have Andrea Lorenzo Molinari, who has joined us since he kind of is our Scout Comics editor, but he is involved as we create the comics. So that way we don't have to change shit. We do Tart 14 now, and a year from now when it comes out with Scout, he goes, I don't like this. That doesn't work. He works on it now. So we've got a nice little team, and
you guys should go check out the cover for Tart 13, the metal cover.
Oh yeah,
is just this is the metal one, is pretty darn awesome, and the regular cover is pretty darn awesome too. So add-ons, Kevin, I assume all issues are available at this point.
all issues you can do. Yeah, if you miss the Tart 13 campaign, you have everything else. You can add 13 with backer kit surveys when you do it. I don't do add-ons within Kickstarter. I don't like the organization tools they have. I don't like that they don't have organizational tools. But in backer kit, you can get it. So Ignacio says, wait, no, man, I don't want to accept another addiction. Comics are not an addiction. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Ignacio, and I'm a lifelong comic addict. You know what? I think that kind of all of us either we've lapsed and come back. So
yeah.
The cool thing about the metal covers is that particular one it's half and half. It's half metal and half regular. So you get this really cool thing. And that issue is kind of told from two perspectives. So Comic Impressions was really nice to play around with us. And
and it really played. I mean, and that's something that you and Ludo worked on to play with the way this story is told. So I mean, this is not just Ludo being awesome, because I mean he is awesome, but it plays directly into what's going on in the issue, which is freaking awesome, by the way.
Yeah, having an artist like Ludo is really freeing as a writer, and I'm gonna guess John Lees would say the same thing about Alex. Because I've seen your work. No, I've seen your work. Me too. And I'm kind of cool with the not wanting to take a compliment, but seriously, as a writer, when you have an artist like you, like Ludo, like Will has, knowing that you can do something fucking crazy and the artist is going to deliver is so freeing, and it's so exciting, because it's like pushing somebody else out of a plane knowing that they're going to have a parachute. Yeah. I'm safe either way.
Like I say, as an artist, always the crazier you get, it's like, oh, what can I do with this one? All right, let's see what I do. Yeah, keep them coming.
Yeah.
As nuts as you can always get. I mean, that's where I'm at least. I always had to be like, all right, push me. Bring it on. What do you think I can't do? Because I'll
so Kevin, Tart is 75 issues. Is that right? That's how long it's been?
So so when I got into comics as a writer, I was like, well, what do I love? Sandman. What do I love? Bone. Well, those are 75 issue series. So that's what comic publishers want, I told myself. I might have been a little ignorant of the comic industry when I decided to do this. And so I created what probably would have ended up being a 42-ish page or issue outline. I just picked 42 because it's somewhere between 38 and 50. I don't even know where it would have landed, but Douglas Adams says 42 is the answer, so I went with 42. And about 6 years in, with 6 issues done, I went, I don't think we're going to do a 42 issue series. So I sat down with the outline with Cassie specifically, and I was like, all right, how can we tell this story in chunks that tell the story well, but we don't need that one-off issue that is just a character echo. It has to be important to the through line of the series. It doesn't have to be like, yay, let's look at Gloom Tangerine on her own. We don't have time for that. We can come back. It's a time travel story. We can come back to this later. So we've gotten it down to about 25 to 27 issues. So the cool thing about that is releasing Tart 14 means we're about halfway done. And that feels, and that's what, like I said, we're in the teenage years. We're somewhere in the middle where, we get to do some new things with Tart. She's no longer, well, in this issue, she probably is, but she's about to learn that maybe she does know better than her bosses, or maybe she doesn't, and maybe that will come back to haunt her. Let's put it that way.
Nice.
Or maybe I'm a father with a 13-year-old daughter, and I'm writing this to try to show her to listen to her elders. I'm not sure which. There could be an ulterior motive.
So with Tart, all but one issue have been done by Ludo. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and number 6 or
number
8?
6.
6. Okay.
Number 6, Carl Moline came in and pinch hit. So I feel pretty good that the one time Ludo didn't draw, we have the artist who created Frey with Joss Whedon doing the art duties. I think we did okay.
Yeah. Which also has another you playing with the covers again, because you have that nice die cut on the cover to number 6, which is pretty darn awesome.
That we did.
I don't have it right here, but it's.
Come on, man!
I know I suck. I should prepared better.
I do, but it would take me 5 minutes to grab it. So that takes place in Truck Lagoon, and there are great white sharks in Truck Lagoon. And so I kind of had the idea, because we had done die cut covers for 4 and 5. And I was like, well, we've got to do die cut covers for 4, 5, 6, and 7, because that's the Submerge arc. I'm a marketing genius. This is what we're going to do. So, but I was like, let's do something fun. Let's do a cover that looks like a shark took a bite out of the cover. So we actually have it where the outside cover is a shark's face, but the teeth open up as if it bit it off, and then you see the inside of the cover. And then because Ludo he's French, so he draws his mermaids without bathing suit tops. This allows a comic shop to have the cover right there without a bag. And if an adult opens up, they see some mermaid boobies. But if a kid walks by, they don't notice it. So I was like, Alex, I'm a genius.
Alex, boobies.
Yes. So, and then Ludo sends the cover to Tart 7, which is the most extraordinary take on Madonna and the baby, but with the Queen of Hell with a devil baby. And I look at this cover and I can't cover a centimeter of the cover. I was like, there it goes, marketing genius, you stupid fuck. Because he just drew something too good to cover with a, I couldn't. So our submerged die cut thing kind of went away, but I'd rather get a cover so good you can't cover it with a die cut than stick with some kind of a marketing ploy. So
nice.
Surprise boobies are the best boobies. Yes, Ignacio. It's like you're writing and your wife says boobs and you look over.
Exactly.
It's great.
I actually have the hardcover for Tart on a shelf back here that I just don't remember exactly which shelf it's on.
Yeah, our book has a dog and a sport coat. That is Tart right behind you.
Oh. You mean Otis? Yeah. That's,
yes.
That's our Basset Hound, Otis. Yes.
You're very dapper.
But you mentioned that you're going to do another collection, a hardcover collection, right?
Yes. So we're lucky enough to be published by Scout Comics. So the cool deal that Scout does is they allow us to kickstart to raise funds for the art. And then we create like seasons for them to publish. So season 1 came out as a trade paperback. We did 3 one-shots, which kind of collected issues 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 as season 2. That's going to come out as a trade paperback in early 2022. Scout has no interest in a hardcover at all. They're not into it. They don't want to do it. So I get to kickstart a hardcover elegant edition of Tart season 2, which is 4 through 7. And my goal is for it to be the exact dimensions of the hardcover for issues 1, 2, and 3 that you have. Mm-hmm. And when we finish the series, we'll have done hardcovers for every season. And then we're going to do a box that they'll all fit in because they're all going to be the exact same dimension. And, it's probably going to be somewhere between 500 and 1,000 copies each because we printed out 1,500 of the hardcover of volume 1. And we're not going to go above that. Hopefully we can get as high as near that. But, it's going to be interesting to see how many we can do, and it's going to be nice, really nice. We're going to try to go real elegant. We're going to try to pretend we're classy as fuck.
You are classy, man.
That's right.
I need to talk to Tyler. Tyler's classy as shit. I got to talk to Tyler about this. He knows how to do it. But so, it is. Go. Yeah. We'll do a couple questions. Yeah. It's 12:24. We don't need to keep poor Alex here all night.
Yeah.
So.
You pointed out the digital catch-up tier, but what's another tier that you kind of are like, I fucking like this one, man. This is awesome.
So if you've never heard of us, I really recommend you hit the $14 digital. That's fine. I love it. Or the $25 catch. We call it the appetizer catch up. You'll get chapters 1 through 7. That's technically Tart season 1. You're gonna find out if you love this book with those first 7 issues. We started printing in the United States and a much lower print run with issue 8. So the catch-up tier to get all 14 issues is $85. So it's a huge bump to go from $25 for 7 chapters to $85 for 14 chapters. It really depends. Are you a collector? You want the most rare books? Get the $85 catch-up tier. If you just want to find out if you love us, get the $14 digital or the $25 appetizer. But if you want to spend a little money, I would say get one of Ludo's interior pages. I mean, his art is absolutely incredible. He's an extraordinary artist. It's beautiful. If you see that gold that you see behind, he just decided it would be fun to paint the pages with a little bit of gold because it wouldn't show through on the page. So you get an enhancement from the artist that nobody else that gets the book will ever see. But of course, that's the most expensive tier. So it's a little I don't know, selfish of me to point out, but I also think it's pretty good value because Ludo is such an amazing artist.
Awesome. I am going to stop sharing the screen. So we've got the link for it here at the bottom of the screen. Go forth and back it.
Yeah.
This feels so much more
self-serving
when we have a campaign live.
I know.
Alex, I don't know if you know this. We started it a good year ago. Or no, about 6 months ago. 5 months ago.
6 months ago, yeah.
When we did,
yeah, because I think I had just finished Crossover Division number 2. Yeah.
And I was like, I'm running a Kickstarter. This is kind of like the thing that I can do for an hour, host it, and show that the backers were doing something fun. And then Will and I had so much fun. We just were like, F it. We don't have a campaign running. Let's keep doing it.
Yeah.
So now it's been 3 months where we don't have a campaign. It feels a little weird to talk about your own book on this now.
Yeah.
So thank you for indulging us.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Well, I mean, hey, thanks for having me on.
No, absolute pleasure. So I'm going to put up the Mr. Dig banner again.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to the end. Is there a tier that you want people to check out on the Dig Kickstarter?
Anyone that you get the book. It's free to get. Just the lowest is like $10. You get it digital, it's fine. I would flip through, see which one is it. You get like all the every issue. Say getting into this one, I think it's like $70. But
is that the 2 hardcovers?
Yeah, I think it's what is it? It's flipping through right now. Yeah, you get Dig, you get the standard directed print edition, you get trading cards, you get all the issues 1 through 5 and 6 through 10. So 1 through 10. That's the one. I mean, if I was doing this, that's the one I'd go to because you get the whole collection, all that. But just $10 is fine. You get the digital one and find a friend that already has the other issues and borrow it from them.
And don't give it back.
Make them buy it more.
Yeah,
buy everything twice just in case you want to read it again.
Yeah, that's right. That's awesome. Will, what's the tier that you would push people to for crossover?
Well, I like the catch-up tier. I tried to keep those. Like you said, when we started with Crossover Division, we printed in the U.S. So, we're printing more to order because I'm very hopeful that, I'm going to collect it, once I get the first arc done and things like that. So
the arc is 5 issues?
4 issues.
4. Okay.
And then, so, we don't have as many books. So the catch-up tier, I think, is a really good way to get, the physical copies of the books. But then I love those covers, man. Mm-hmm. I love all the covers. I mean, our first issue, Pablo did an amazing cover. We had Connor Hughes, of White Ash and the game, did an amazing cover for us too. Stefan Roux, superstar DC artist Stefan Roux did a cover for us, and it's great.
Jekyll and Hyde, or what was that?
Yeah, he kind of had Hank and Hector with the Witch, Dracula, Jekyll and Hyde, and probably Dracula, I think. Kind of
it was a beautiful cover.
Yeah,
I do remember
beautiful
that
cover. And then for number 2, Kath Lobo did an amazing cover. Pablo's cover, of course, was great. We had Kath Lobo, Yasmin Flores Montanez, and let's see, I'm going through the list now. And Alice Leclerc, the artist on the 3 and 4, she did a variant cover for us. And then I love all the covers, but the cover that Jen St. Ange did for us for number 2, we made the project image, with the Brides of Dracula. the colors on that just make it pop so much. I love that one. And then in this one, I mean, talk about an embarrassment of riches. Look at those covers for number 3. So
yeah,
I would say, you know, I want readers, so get the digital catch up or get the physical catch up. If you love looking at sweet art, get some of those variant cover, you know, tiers, you know.
I don't like to play favorites, but get Ludo's cover.
Yeah, Ludo's cover's awesome. In fact, I've got to Rob Multari, you know, our friend that does Nightwolf. I was like, dude, Mog's cover is great. I love it. It's beautiful. But I got to buy Ludo's, dude. You don't have a tier that has that. What? He goes, it's on backer kit, man. Just wait till the backer kit's on. Like, all right. I'm holding you to that, Rob. I'm seriously holding you to that.
Yeah. So, all right, let's, this is the point, Alex, where if you'd like to go to bed, we are going to talk about the campaigns that are still running for the creators that have joined us. We're going to do this for you until the Dig campaign is closed. But if I don't know when sleepy time happens for you, but if it happens now, we're going to say goodnight. Right. But if you want to stick with us, you are allowed. Many people leave at this point.
I appreciate it, but yeah, I gotta take off.
And just so you know, every backer you get after this show, that's completely due to us.
I will. I'm going to absolutely 100%. It's gonna be from you guys.
It is the explain yourself bump. It is something that is extraordinarily true to Will and I, and no one else has agreed. But we take credit for it.
I'm throwing it to you guys. It's all you.
It was great to meet you, man. I've been a fan of your work for a long time.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. It was great to meet you guys too.
Yeah, have a great night, Alex.
All right, good night, guys. Bye.
All right, so Will, what do we got?
We don't have many this week. Things have slowed down a little bit for us, but
Brant and Last Ember, their book funded today.
Absolutely. So congrats to Brant. Shout out to in the Land of the Dragon. Overfunded pretty well.
Yes.
So very good. We have the Blazing Blade of Frankenstein.
Kyle Roberts and Clay Adams. Frankenstein's monster in an even older sci-fi story, Blazing World, which was written in 1666. I actually looked it up today. There's a portal into this blazing world, and it is in the Arctic. And Clay and Kyle decided that the last time we saw Frankenstein's monster, it was on a ice float floating toward the Arctic. So they put poor Frankie in the blazing world of Frankenstein, which is sort of a Conan-ish world, I believe.
Sword and sorcery, yeah.
Sword and sorcery.
Monster as a fantasy hero. That's just pretty damn cool when you think about it.
So blazing world of Frankenstein. I will find it and put that up.
There we go.
Really, I mean, it's Kyle Roberts, so the art is incredible. It's Clay Adams, so you know it's going to be fun, and it feels swashbuckling and weird and cool and interesting. So haven't read it, but I am ready for it.
And it ends in about 6 days, I think, on December 9th.
Yeah, 5 days now. It's late.
5 days,
Yep. And Meraki, which is M.K. Palmer's genetically enhanced humans dealing with shithead Greek gods.
Yep. And it has a strong LGBT plus representation, which is really awesome.
MK is great. If you look at the videos on either Will or my Kickstarter page, you might see really awesome animated logos, and then
my ugly mug,
less polished videos on both of our parts. So the parts that look absolutely incredible, that are the most amazing thing you've seen, MK Palmer did. The stuff that looks shitty, Will did, and I did.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, don't judge her on my crap.
No. If you like it, MK did it. If you don't, we probably
it's totally
did
me.
It.
Yeah.
But the art on it is just really beautiful, and MK really wants to make sure that there is representation for queer characters. And what I love about what she does is that doesn't mean they're all great. Her queer characters can be heroes, villains, a little bit in the middle, gray, trustworthy, shitheads, and
cranky.
I think that's what's the most lovely thing about what MK is doing is really putting real human beings on a page, showing that the sexual orientation is human. So,
and like Kevin said, the art is spectacular on the series, and it is by, and I'm really scrolling fast, I'm going to get there. The art is by Minhang Moon.
Okay.
Who's
done
really
all
good.
5 issues, I believe.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I think so. I think, yeah, when we had her on the show, I think she said she'd done every issue.
Yeah. And last night we actually talked to Anthony Pollock, who edited the Producing the End of the World anthology. And it is an anthology with 20 creative teams, 160 pages, where every single story has to do with the end of the world. An apocalyptic event has to happen in the short story. But that's it. That's the rule. You know, we don't know exactly what that means. Some gory, some funny, some just quiet. And it seems like a really, really, really interesting anthology to check out.
And Anthony worked really hard on it, corralling that many creative teams.
10 months, I think he said.
Yeah. So definitely give it a look. It's definitely something to look at.
So we're gonna do this tomorrow night, Will?
Sure, man. I'm down. who you want to show up, man? We'll see if we can get.
If I had enough friends to do it every night, maybe we do it. But I do not have that many friends.
I know.
So why don't we meet up next Friday night with a little guy we call Charlie Stickney?
Charlie Stickney. I've heard that name before.
Yeah, I'm gonna introduce you. He's all right. He's all right. So cool. Charlie Stickney is kickstarting How I Slept My Way Through College. It is a story about a woman who finds out that her professor is running a high-class sex worker cell, using students as the workers. And we know with Charlie that there's going to be intrigue, there's going to be thrills, and there's going to be twists and turns. I've read the first 7 pages and they're interesting, but I don't know what else is happening. And we're going to find out next week more about this story. So
yeah, and go read those introductory pages. As a lifelong Green Lantern fan, my geek heart grew 2 sizes after reading them. So,
okay, all right. All right. I don't remember. It's been a month, but yeah, that's great.
There's a little bit of banter between one of the escorts and her John, I guess. And we find out some Green Lantern stuff, which is pretty cool.
Nice. So we know what Charlie thinks about when he can't sleep at night.
Exactly.
All right. Will, always a pleasure. I will talk to you next week.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for watching. Good night, everybody.